LL Nation, what's good with it? I know you expected to see us around 5 o'clock this afternoon after the Marcus Freeman press conference down in South Bend, but you know, Miami Hurricanes, they just could not let us have our day. Notre Dame fans, they just couldn't let us have our day. You know what I mean? Breaks early this morning that Manny Diaz has been fired, and then Mario Cristobal has been hired as a new head coach down in Miami. And I have on one of the former running backs for the Miami Hurricanes, NFL running back for the Tennessee Titans, my brother, and Orange Bowl MVP, Jarrett Payton. Let's talk about it, man. We know now this is interesting, and this is what I want to get right to because I know you have something that you have to do. This has been a long time coming from a fan base and former player standpoint. Like the fan base and former players have always wanted Mario to come back to the U. Why is it the perfect time now?
I think it's the perfect time because where we are and where he is. Mario, when I was at Miami, it was a different. You could tell dudes that played there that have that connection with the university, the football program, and also just being around South Florida and understanding what it means. We lost that connection.
Yeah.
I really did like Manny and his connection. I don't think Manny had enough time to get through enough classes to do what he was hoping to do. But you and I both know in college football, you don't get a lot of time anymore. It's you got to produce real quick, and it's tough. So first, before I say anything about Mario, I do have to say my relationship with Manny and him just being a good dude, man. Like I got nothing but love for him, nothing but love for Manny, and I'm hoping that he gets an opportunity to go somewhere else. And he's just one of those good guys, man. I've always had love for him. Mario, my love is just a lot deeper because he was there and coached me. He was around. He knows what it takes to win championships. But
Yeah.
he had to grow. He had to grow as a coach. He had to grow and move around and see other places outside of Miami to now have that feeling to be, the big dog in Eugene, to having, that those relationships at Alabama, to know what it takes to really recruit. I think all that stuff it's perfect timing now to what he's going to be able to do at the University of Miami. So I think where the university is at, of really searching for that person that can lead this university and football program back to national prominence is right. And I think the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations that he had to go through, I think it's just perfect because now he's in a good place to be able to get this thing back to hopefully where we all hope it should be and where it needs to be.
Once again, I have former Tennessee Titan running back Jarrett Payton right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. We are all about Notre Dame football, but when breaking news happens in college football, we like to give you access to the people and the connections that we have right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast and the Lucky Lefty Nation Network. So you saw what took place with Brian Kelly going to LSU and Marcus Freeman being hired as the next head coach. A lot of people don't know this, and this is why I had you on. Okay? A lot of people.
This is where you going with this? This is early.
It's
Okay.
LL Nation. A lot of people don't know that you have, through your father and through your own life, you have a lot of connections to Notre Dame University or the University of Notre Dame. And a lot of people don't know at one time that you were committed to the University of Notre Dame before you finally decided on the University of Miami.
No. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Let's go back. Let's go back.
Break it down.
I actually committed to Notre Dame first.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. I went to Indiana. I went to Notre Dame and went to Wisconsin, and I was done. I shut out Miami and Penn State, and I was done. I was going to, and yeah, a lot of stuff went down behind closed doors, and I don't really know what the true meaning is of how it didn't happen, but there were some issues with the head coach at that time, and from what I hear, and these are things that I hear. I don't even want to put it out there. I just want to say there were some issues with some jealousy from what I heard from being who I was, who my father was, that kind of led to me not going to Notre Dame. And a lot of people don't know that. So yeah, man, I was gonna be a Golden Domer. I was gonna be close to home. I was gonna be able. My dad was sick at that time. It was gonna give me the opportunity to be able to not only play football at a high level, but also to be able to be close to my family.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out that way, bro. So, and a lot of people, a lot of former Notre Dame football players are still upset what went down. So,
who was your host? Who was your host on that recruiting weekend?
Oh, man, that was a long time ago. What's his name? I forgot his name. He was a safety. He was a safety. He was on the defensive side. I can't think of his name right now.
So what is this? This is like 1998?
This is 98, 99. Yeah. 98, 99.
Okay, go ahead. I'll remember.
I came on my visit, man, and going to St. Byron High School, there was just so many, going to a Catholic high school, there was just so many kids from my school that were actually going there. And my other best friend CJ, he went to school there too, and I forgot who the punter was or the kicker was. First night we got there, this is before I having a cell phone, so I didn't know how I was going to get in touch with my buddy CJ. He had like a house phone in his dorm, and I pull up to the party, and the party we go to, CJ's at the party, and it was like, "What's up, man?" And I really did. I had a Touchdown Club, which is where the hotel was, and
yeah,
that's where we stayed, and man, it was cool to me. It was a cool vibe to me because it felt like I was home. It just felt home, that home-like feeling, and it was always really just. It's when you get on campus, it's just different.
It's totally a different place.
It's a different place, and so I think that was probably the hardest part because I was walking around school. This is like he got game time, so everybody in school, everybody was wondering where I was going. And the day, that Friday before, and there was like some coaches like convention where they all get together, and they were all gone out of the offices. And that day, I wore my Notre Dame pullover. Everybody was freaking out, like, he's going to Notre Dame. He's going to Notre Dame. And dude, that was the hardest part of having to go back and tell all those people that it's not happening. I got to make another decision. But it was
outside of your control.
It was outside of my control. It had nothing to do with me. I was ready to go, and I was fully committed. I was ready to go. It seemed right, but sometimes God has a different plan for you, a different path. So it took me down to South Florida. I went down there, met Luke. I was down on my visit with Vernon Carey, and Clinton Portis and Andre Johnson, Philip Buchanan. And those guys said, we come in here, if we all come here, we can win a championship. And nobody said that anywhere else that I went. So for me, that's what made it special. So yeah, I moved. I went from being cold to wearing sunblock and wearing sandals every single day. It ended up being the right choice. So it is what it is.
Hey, you know what? I remember because we've talked about this. I know Deke Cooper was one of the guys that you actually kicked it with, and you also told me that Tony Driver was real cool that
Tony
weekend.
Tony Driver was
Yeah.
Tony Driver.
So that Notre Dame fans, this is Notre Dame history of what could have been. Like, yo, the Payton name could have been part of Notre Dame football lore. And like you said, unfortunately, things go the way they go, and things happen. But, you know, as we get ready to close, you're headed to actually do something that may impact or interest the
Yeah.
Notre Dame football family.
I'm flying out to San Francisco to interview Joe Montana.
Yeah.
For a special I do called Legends of the Big Game, which airs on WGN that week of the Super Bowl, but it's all over the country, so people can find it there. So he's the last installation, so it's just kind of fitting. But I do want to say this before I go, though, Shaun. Marcus Freeman, I'm super excited. Even though I'm a Cane, I'm super excited for Notre Dame fans, because to see that video released the other day when he walked into the room and the love and the joy,
yeah,
it's something that's special, man. And I think every team is searching for that, and they're searching for someone, and to be an African-American man taking over. There's only been 2 in the school's history at head coach. That means something. But take that aside, the connection that he has with those young men,
yeah,
inside of that locker room is special. And Notre Dame has been so close. They've been so close. They were close with Brian Kelly, but they didn't have that. I don't know if they love Brian Kelly like that. And you know what I'm saying? And so when you got to dig deep down inside to win a championship, you got to not only do it for the dudes inside of your locker room, you got to do it for that head coach. You got to do it for that dude, and you got to do everything. And I believe in my heart that Coach Freeman has that in him. He's got it in him to be able to get the best out of those young men, and and he's young.
yeah.
He's young, man, and so he gets it. He understands what they're going through with the internet, social media, all this stuff. Like, he understands. He can vibe with them. And I think it's really going to pay off dividends for them long term, not just on the football field, but for these young men when they leave Notre Dame as well. We know what it means to have those connections at Notre Dame. I think it's just going to be another extension of something great for those young men once they leave, because I think he's going to bring the best out of them. So as much as, the rivalry between the Canes and the Irish, I can throw that aside to say that, being a dude that's been there before, that's played, man, I wish I could have played for somebody like him. So Notre Dame fans can take that for what it's worth.
This will be, and this could very well be, a seminal moment in the rivalry between Notre Dame and the University of Miami today. With Mario officially being hired, and with Marcus Freeman, his first press conference as the head coach of Notre Dame. Hopefully moving forward in the ACC schedule that Notre Dame does have, we'll see the resurgence of the rivalry, and both teams will get back into the national spotlight. And now we actually have an opportunity to meet in the national championship game or the college football playoff. That would actually be dope.
That would. That's what we need. College football is better when the Canes and the Irish are doing big things. It just is. It needs to be. Like, no disrespect to all the other teams and the other programs that have been, in the spotlight. And Notre Dame's been there in the spotlight. But for us, college football is a lot better when the Canes are good, man. And so I'm hoping that we can get back to that. And hopefully that Mario is that guy to be able to get it there, because a lot of former players that have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in this thing. And, dude, we're tired. We're tired of having those conversations with people going, when's the U going to be back? It's time now for the U to be back. And hopefully it doesn't take as long as we all hope it can be. But Mario is a good guy, and I have faith in him that he's going to be great for those connections down in South Florida, to be able to keep the South Florida talent in South Florida, but also now with his ties around the country and what people know about him, that hopefully he can also do it in some of those other states as well, Texas, California. You know what I mean? And really get these kids, Louisiana, grab these kids because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take being able to wall off a lot of those kids from going to Alabama and those other schools. So hopefully, that's what I'm hoping. I'm praying.
Well, we're all in the same boat. We're chasing Nick Saban and his crew.
Yes, sir.
Everybody in the nation is in the same spot. They're chasing the same program, and it's just a race to see who gets there first. Kudos to the University of Miami getting their guy, and Notre Dame fans are definitely happy for getting their guy, Marcus Freeman. He'll meet the media today. My brother, I appreciate you joining me on the Lucky Lefty podcast to just talk about the hiring of Mario Cristobal and your relationship and connection to Notre Dame, because I felt like Notre Dame fans needed to know just how close they came to watching you put up 1,500 a year.
Dude, they was close, bro. It would have been close, bro.
Now, hey, were you going to play soccer and football?
Nah, just football. Just football. No soccer.
People don't know you were like top 5 in the nation.
Dude, cats don't know, bro. I was better soccer player than I was football player. But that just goes to show you, man, like if you ever want to do something, don't ever be afraid. Like, take a chance. Like, you got to take a chance sometimes. I took a chance, and maybe it didn't end up the way that I had dreamed it was always going to end up to be. But, man, the relationships and what I learned in my life by switching over to football, and, man, it really changed. It changed me. It changed me in the way that I work, changed me in the way that I see things, and the people that I was around playing that game, because it's the toughest game in the world, man. There ain't nothing like it. Like, you got to be tough. You got to be able to fight through adversity. You got to be able to fight through pain. And I knew that from my pops, but once you're in it, it's different. And so that's helped shape me and mold me to the person that I am, and my work ethic. And you know, being 40 going on 41, man, you need that. If you don't have that, that's one of the key things you need to be successful. So I'm just glad I had a chance to learn it from this beautiful game of football, man. And it's something special to me, man. Special.
Once again, before I let you get out of here, let the people know the project that you're working on and when it's going to be coming out. Your interview with Joe Montana. That's where you're headed right now, out to the West Coast. When can they expect to see it?
Yeah, go just check out. Just go online. Legends of the Big Game. It's going to be on WGN in Chicago, but it's going to be around the country as well. 180 different local television stations around the country. You can just follow on Twitter, Instagram, Payton Sun, PaytonSun, and that's where I'll be linking everything. So just follow me there. Even though you Irish fans, it's all good. You might see a couple of you emojis, you know, the hands, but it's all good though. It's still love. I might throw a little 4-leaf clover out there for y'all every once in a while.
Yeah, you know, a lot of fans are in the comments. I got Will Clove. This one kind of encapsulates how I feel. Happy that the U is going to be good again. It helps our strength of schedule.
Yes, sir.
Hey, we help both. We help each other.
Yes, sir.
My brother, always man. Pleasure, bro. I appreciate. Oh yeah, I'm gonna put you on the hook right now, because Notre Dame fans might not know. I'm gonna broker this right now and give Marcus Freeman a call. In 2030, my nephew. I know Notre Dame is gonna be in his top 3 for baseball and football.
Yeah, dude.
I'm putting you on the spot right now. You got to let me know.
What, is he coming to Notre Dame?
No, we just need to be in the top 3.
I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, we gotta see what's popping. You know, by that time, you know, duffel bags will be a little bit bigger, so we'll figure it out.
Oh, Jaden's gonna have that NIL. We gonna keep him right. We're gonna keep him right.
We got him. We already working on the NIL money already, man. Make sure he's good, man. But yeah, anywhere to get that opportunity to play, man, it'd be special, man. And maybe he could do what I didn't get a chance to do. You know what I'm saying?
We got the posters ready for Chicago, right downtown, on the CTA buses, everything. We got a full marketing plan for him.
You something, man. Look, I'm here getting a ticket.
Safe travel, man.
Bro. I'll holler at you, man.
Yes, sir. Love you, boy.
Love you too.
All right, Notre Dame fans, that was Jarrett Payton. sportscaster here in Chicago at WGN, former Miami Hurricane running back and former NFL running back with the Tennessee Titans. Right here, just giving you a little bit backstory of his connections to Notre Dame and how close he came to being a running back for Notre Dame, talking about how cool Tony Driver and D. Cooper were with him on his recruiting trip. And then just giving a little bit of information of how important it was to get Mario Cristobal down at the University of Miami after they had been trying to get him there for years. So just to remind you guys, Marcus Freeman, his press conference today, 2 p.m. Eastern. And then myself and Malik Zaire will be joining Irish Breakdown with Vince D'Addario and Brian Driscoll for their show. We're going to end their show and jump right over to the Lucky Lefty podcast. And Vince and Brian will be our guests on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Approximate time, I would say somewhere around 3:30 to 4 o'clock. We'll start on Irish Breakdown. And then 2 hours later, we'll flip over to the Lucky Lefty podcast. So stay tuned. As always, subscribe, share, like, hit the notification bell for the Lucky Lefty podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Lucky Lefty Pod. Yo, I appreciate this. We got to check in from Atlanta. Robin Dennis from Atlanta Love the Podcast. Great football coverage. Yo, you know we talk Notre Dame football 99% of the time, but I just felt like with everything happening and me knowing the connection to Notre Dame with the press conference coming up, it would be great to have Jarrett on to share his story, to talk about his interview with Joe Montana that will be coming up on WGN America. And Notre Dame fans, lock in with that. Follow him at Payton Son on Twitter so you can see where what channel is going to show up locally for you, so you can check out that exclusive interview with former Notre Dame great and NFL Hall of Famer Joe Montana. I wish I could have talked some more to that Notre Dame story. Maybe we can have him back on when Malik has an opportunity as well, so they can just share some of their stories about their recruiting trip and the connections to Notre Dame. Man, it's deeper than that. He really couldn't let go, but it's a tremendous story. And at some point, I hope we can release it and get it out to Notre Dame fans. So remember, mash up Irish Breakdown, Lucky Lefty podcast right after the Marcus Freeman press conference. We're probably going to give you 5 hours of coverage. 5 hours of coverage. And one of the things I want you guys to really think about is on our Twitter page at Lucky Lefty Pod. We put up a post of what the 18 playoff will look like this year if expansion had taken place. Notre Dame in the 4-5 slot would have faced off against Cincinnati. That would have been a great game. We want to get your thoughts. Go look at it on our Twitter page, and we'll discuss it a little bit later on the Lucky Lefty podcast when we have special guests today, Vince D'Addario and Brian Driscoll from Irish Breakdown. So, for my man Malik Zaire, the original Lucky Lefty himself, I'm Shaun Davis. This has been the Lucky Lefty podcast. We'll see you guys this afternoon to discuss Marcus Freeman and his first press conference.